Well, my name is Diego. I'm originally from Italy. I'm 31 years old now. My background is in nuclear engineering. I've been studying in a few countries, but let's say the main location was always Italy. What I used to call home was Italy, Milan in particular. After that, I've been working in the medical industry mainly for about 5 years. Again, initially in Italy, and then for a couple of years in England. And after that, I was looking for a change. I didn't really know what had to change, but I was looking for a change. And so I said, let's go for an MBA. As I briefly said, I was looking for a change. I didn't really know what. I was expecting to change. I was hoping to change. But it was really, there was not a single event that made me go for an MBA. It was just a pile up of things. One that well, first of all, I was, as I said, I was based in England and I wanted to leave the country. I wanted to move somewhere warmer, let's say, or souther at least. I felt like my job position, my company were kind of, my job evolution more than job position was kind of slowing down. So I wanted a new boost in that sense. Some of my friends with whom I started earlier in my university back home in Milan did an MBA, and they were all very enthusiastic. They recommended the experience. They recommended also the timing that I was considering. So take 1 year off for a full-time program. And so put all these ingredients together, let's say, and that made me take this big decision. The choice of Berlin was kind of an optimization problem, let's say, because there is no perfect solution. Every city and every school in particular have their pros and cons. So it was kind of an iterative process. My decision was kind of an iterative process for which I kind of put down the pros and the cons of every solution. And the pros and the cons in particular for Berlin, and what made me choose Berlin were, first of all, Berlin, the city itself is, after living there, I can say it's very sexy and up to my expectations. Unfortunately, the non-academic side of the MBA was a bit slowed down, if not cancelled due to the pandemic, but that's what we get, unfortunately. But so Berlin, first of all, ESMT, the rankings are constantly top at the European level, and so there was a good sign, let's say, and a good chunk of the decision was based on this. Last but not least, I wanted to stay in Europe because I feel Italian, but I feel European. I'm proud to be European. I studied in France previously. I lived in England before Brexit, so it was still, let's say, Europe. And I have strong connections to Spain, and so I kind of wanted to explore this other aspect of or side of Europe, let's say. Plus, my background is in heavy engineering, let's say. And so Germany has kind of a good tradition in this sense, and I thought it could help me maybe land a job there or make my life easier down the road. When we started the program during the welcome week, or I can't remember exactly how the school used to call it, but basically the first onboarding week where the program's kickoff happened, we were shown a graph, and it was kind of an upside down profile. And so this was the plan, let's say, on how the school presented the program during the first week. What I would like to use instead is a graph that I kind of made, a sketch that I made, that's showing a bit of a roller coaster, but a more extreme roller coaster, which is basically a not funny way to describe what we went through, because the uncertainties were amplified by orders of magnitude, because of course the stress was higher due to the fact that we couldn't really interact the way we had planned. The teachers obviously had to adapt to this new environment as well, which was something they were not used to and they were not prepared to. So put all these things together, you have a mood going up and down very frequently. At the end of the day, it was a journey way more extreme in some sense compared to what we expected. I think I was lucky, to be honest, in finding a job so early. I signed my contract even before the graduation day, so I was already safe from that point of view. The role I have now is that I'm the chief project officer in a French startup called the Renaissance Fusion, which was founded last year in Grenoble in southern France, next to the Alps. So how did I get this amazing position? Because I'm really enjoying it. Basically, the school or the program more than school includes a final consulting project that we have to do in groups of 4 to 6 people, if I remember correctly, and that's the last academic assignment that we have to go through. And so what happened is that in theory, the school, with the help of the career service team, let's say source and provide projects for the class, but they're also open to projects sourced directly by the students. And so that's what I did. I realized during the year, speaking with with the coach that we have, that I was really willing to join this industry because for various reasons. And so I said, okay, it's worth an effort. It's definitely a try that I want to make. Through connections, actually from the career services, I managed to get in touch with one of the co-founders of this company. And then obviously with the founder, they were happy to have us as a student group for a project. Things went well, both from the company perspective and from the academic perspective, because the feedback was very positive. And in particular, I remember on the very first day we met with the founders of the company, I introduced myself and then I said, just as for your information, I'm willing to look for a job in energy, in fusion energy. I'll put it there and then we'll see what happens. And actually things went well. There was a match between my profile, what they were looking for, and their profile. And so that's it. The first and most immediate thing is the role played by the career service team. Marcel and Sophie are great. Like I loved working with them and interacting with them. Besides on the, let's say, the traditional help that they provide, so CV review, cover letter review, maybe some workshops or fake interviews with recruiters, etc. It's more the help that they provide along the path, and so in preparation to this or to that, they're always open for chat. They're always willing to share their ideas, willing to introduce you to someone in their network. They know how to help, and they want to help as much as they can. So that's for sure one thing. The other one, I briefly touched upon it earlier, but I want to go deeper in that sense. The coaching experience, that's still something organized by the career service, is something that it was new to me. I never had a professional coach, but it was a groundbreaking almost experience for me. It was really it made me think about or ask me questions that I would have not done otherwise. The fact that I realized that this is the industry I want to work for came up, and I actually realized that this was the path only because of the coaching sessions that I had. I remember one of the alumni, probably that we met the second week of the program, said to me, the coaching is probably one, if not the most, the biggest takeaway or the highest point of my MBA journey. I wouldn't go that far. I think there is much more than just having coaching sessions, but it's really a nice to have, and something I wasn't expecting, but I much appreciate it. The first thing I have to say is that I'm kind of risk averse as a person, or I like to calculate my risks. And so I have to admit, honestly, I don't know if I would have done the same choice 1 year later due to the pandemic. I'm very honest. But at the same time, other profiles, I wouldn't say more risk prone, but just other profiles or other people with their own experience and backgrounds might find this actually what they need. I remember one of our teachers was saying, if you time your MBA with the pandemic in a proper way and you're lucky, you end up at the end of your program with hopefully the economy reopening, growing, rebooming, and so in a way that gives you more opportunities than you would have had 1 or 2 years ago. And the other thing I would say to someone who's hesitant or who's considering the idea is that if you give yourself objectives and you realize that the fastest or the easiest or the best way to get to those objectives is to do an MBA, I don't think that the pandemic should stop from going that way. If your objective is to work, in Europe or in Germany, and you think that doing an MBA at the ESMT Berlin is what makes it more real or closer to happen, then go for it. It's the school coped pretty well, I have to say. All things considered, they stepped up and really helped, really did what they could, and possibly more. So I don't think the pandemic, as it's by itself, should stop someone or make someone change their advice.